Hey guys, and welcome back to another Warframe video where today we are going to be looking at a Khora farming build which I've been using in my Warframe Done Efficiently playthrough. I want to point out at the very start of this video that this is by no means min-maxed, this build. There are going to be builds out there which are, top of the line. People have spent loads of Former and done whatever to this. But this one, zero Former. It's just what I've been using in my Warframe Done Efficiently playthrough. And someone did ask in the comments section a couple weeks ago now, I think, for a build guide on this and where to farm. So that's what we're going to do this episode. And it's going to be solo only. If you want to know some group farming strategies, I do have a video on that from, previous updates, which is still just fine. The tactics are exactly the same, so I'll post that down in the comment section below. I do have a farming playlist, actually, if you want to go ahead and take a look at that. So that's got all of my previous farming videos in there. You should be able to find the strategies employed in that video, so I'm not going to go into group farming for this video. But we'll jump straight into the build, and then we'll take a look at 3 locations where I like to farm on my Warframe Done Efficiently playthrough, specifically for the resources they provide and the fact that they provide resources that are for Eidolon hunting, which I am an Eidolon hunter. That's probably one of the main reasons I play this game. So yeah, let's take a look at the Khora build real quick, and then we'll have a look at those 3 different nodes. So on Khora here, we've got Arcane Energize and Arcane Fury. These aren't actually needed. They're, they help a bit. Arcane Energize is kind of for, it's just quality of life, really. Just make sure you have full energy all the time. And Arcane Fury provides us with a bit of melee damage, but that doesn't actually stack too well as you go through. And if you're doing longer farming missions, like if you're in for an hour maybe, then, it's not really going to help out too much, so don't worry about that at all. Like I said, zero Former, and I haven't even bothered changing the Aurus polarity here, so I've put on Shepherd to give my companion some more health and armor, as I want to keep my companion alive as much as possible so that she can keep giving me those glorious charm buffs for doubling resources. It's just lovely. I've also actually put on Master's Summons on this particular build, so that I don't have to waste time reviving my Kavat. I can just instantly press this and bring her back to life. You can get this using the helmet, so that's what I've got on there. You could put another ability on here just fine. I've put this on mainly because I was lazy and wanted it on there. You could put Gara's ability on there. I can't remember the name of it, but there's definitely ways you could improve damage output. But to be honest, from what I've found, this should work just fine. Everything else is going to be revolving around our 4th and 1st ability, Whip Claw. So we've got Pilfering Strangledome on. That's for our 4th ability, going to increase the loot drop chance. Very important to have on. And then we've also got Accumulating Whip Claw, which is really, really going to buff the damage on our 1st ability. Would recommend having this on. If you don't have it on, you can try and run it without, but you'll probably see less kills. You'll be able to farm, but just at a slower rate. You can put anything you want in the Excellent slot. I put on Enemy Sense just so I can see enemies coming. And then I've also got Streamline, Fleeting Expertise for the efficiency. Duration as well, Narrow-Minded. And then I've put Overextended on as well, just to get our range up to... You want between kind of 120 and 140% is the mark you want to aim for. And Rolling Guard I'm using to actually pick up resources. So when I have to go and replace my Strangledomes, I'm going to use this to roll in, pick up all my stuff, and get out without dying. That's why I've got that on. You don't need this on if you're, a bit more confident in that department, but I've got it on just for peace of mind. You do not need a primary or a secondary weapon for this build. It is just going to revolve around our Whip Claw. So a melee weapon is advised because obviously all of the mods on the melee weapon get transferred over to the damage on the Whip Claw. So if you take a look here, I would recommend having a weapon with a disposition of 5 if you do have a Riven. If not, it doesn't matter. You can replace that with another damage mod if you want. No big deal. Everything else, geared towards damage. Make sure you have Blood Rush on, very important, and also Weeping Wounds. Would recommend having this on as well. If you are playing against either Grineer or Corrupted, I would recommend going Viral and Heat. Even Corpus, if you were going to go against Corpus, but I wouldn't recommend it. Go ahead and go Viral and Heat. If you're going against Infested, make sure to take Gas. Gas will just completely crush the Infested, and it stacks so much so you get gas clouds and the Infested just die as soon as they hit the barrier, or as soon as they hit your Strangledome, sorry. So very important to make sure you've got the right elements on. And then everything else geared towards crit and crit multiplier. Definitely something to look out for. For our skill tree, we've got Narrowman. This is mainly for the center ability here, which means that our combo counter won't just completely delete itself if we don't attack an enemy for a certain amount of time. It's going to decay by 5 every few seconds, which just makes our life a lot easier. And yeah, there is also the fact that our kills grant an extra 45% more melee affinity. If you wanted to put something like, you know, a lens on Khora, then this is going to help you. So bear that in mind as well. But mainly for this center one. And then if we take a look at our Kavat quickly, just make sure to get it so that it's not going to die. That's the main thing. 0 Former on this again. Link Health and Link Armor. Then we've got Tech Assault, which basically gives our Kavat a 60% chance to just not die. So definitely recommend getting this. Fetch for, you know, helping us pick up resources. Then Tech Enhance and Charm. That's going to really increase your the amount of loot you get. These are the two most important mods you can have on this by far. You know, if you get a double resource drop booster on this, then it's just, you're going to increase your pickup so much. So definitely run Smeater on this. And Tech Enhance is just going to increase the duration of the double resources buff you get from Charm. So yeah, definitely go that. So what we'll do now, we'll go ahead and take a look at our star chart here. Now we want to be running on Steel Path for solo, because if we run on the normal Origin system, the enemy spawn rate is going to be very, very low. You're going to get quarter of the spawn rate as if you were on Steel Path. Steel Path acts exactly the same as if you were in a 4-man squad. You get the same amount of enemies as in a 4-man squad, and that's why we're going to do it. And you can also see we get a plus 100% resource drop chance and plus 100% mod drop chance booster. It is at this point that I will also make you aware that obviously if you are running something like a resource drop chance booster or a resource booster, they are going to massively increase the amount you can get from these farms. So bear that in mind, as well as the drop chance blessing you can get from a level 30 player, MR30 player at any relay. So bear that in mind as well. Now, the nodes we're going to be using, we've got one on Saturn here, which is Ophelia. We're going to be doing one on Deimos, which is Tellurium, and the other one we're going to be doing is Annie on Void. So the resources that we're going to be collecting, we can't deploy extractors, so we can't see what drops in the Void, I don't think. But basically, you're going to be getting Ferrite from the Void. That's the main one that I like to look out for. Control modules, Rubedo, Argon crystals, also, you know, very handy. So those are the main ones you're going to get from there. From Uranus, we're going to go ahead and get Polymer bundles, Plastids, Gallium, Detonite, Ampule, and also Tellurium. You know, if you're struggling to get Tellurium, maybe you'll find this build quite handy. And then on Deimos here, we're going to be getting Orokin cells, Mutagen samples, Nano, Spores, and Neurodes. So we actually cover a decent amount of resources just with these three farms. We cover 12 to 14, I believe, different resources just from these, which is really, really nice. And yeah, all of these resources I'm collecting for my Eidolon hunting. I'm an Eidolon hunter, and that's probably the main reason I play this game. So Nano, Spores, Ferrite, and Polymer bundles, we got there, are the main ones I'm going to be collecting in these farms. So we'll take a look at some of the rooms that you can sit in and just, yeah, really, really pick up some resources. We'll start with Uranus. We'll start with Ophelia. If you're wondering how to get to these nodes without, you know, clearing the whole Steel Path star chart, just go ahead and do the Steel Path incursions each week. As you can see, these cover pretty much all the planets. So there's one on Deimos, one on Mars, Mercury, Kuva Fortress, and Europa. So at some point you will get one on the planet that you want, and then you only have to make your way over a few steps to the node that you want. So that's what I've done. Just gone ahead and done the Steel Path incursions until I got the 3 nodes that I wanted, and then I've basically stopped. Obviously, I'll complete them at some point, but right now, it was just to get the farms out of the way. So let's go ahead, we'll jump into Uranus, and we'll take a look at the farming spots. Okay guys, so this is one of the rooms you want to find on Ophelia. It's my favourite one to farm. What you want to do, come through into this door right here, and then just under the stairs right here, go ahead and throw down 2 of your cages, and then we can just go ahead and start whipping. If you've got enemies at the top of the stairs to begin with, you can just whip up the stairs, that's fine. But after a while, you should just be able to whip straight down the hallway and hit people. And yeah, this is basically what you do. And your combo counter will obviously stack up, and after a while, you'll be getting red crits. Your Venari will die after a while and not get in the way so much, but as you can see, we are getting just tons of kills already here. It's all very nice. So what I'll do, I'll take this to kind of 10 minutes maybe, and we'll see how many we've got. So there we go. We'll use our rolling guard here and just put down some more cages. When the Acolyte spawns, you can go ahead and use your second ability just to tie him up and then kill him. We'll probably skip to that point as well, and I'll show you guys just how fast he dies. But then, yeah, we'll go to about 10 minutes, and we'll see how many resources we've got. Alright, guys, we've got our Acolyte spawning right here. It's worth knowing, I think I'm just going to leave after this Acolyte's dead, because I've got to get a lot into this video. So let's just go ahead. We'll use our second ability on him. And 3 hits and he's dead. There we go. And we just carry on farming. He is not a problem. So yeah, let's get out of here and we'll just see how much we got in that little 10 minute. We're going to die. That's fine. If you die, by the way, and go down and you've got Nano on, you can just do something like this if you've got Proper. There we go. Nice and easy. Especially if you've got Oniro unlocked. That's what you need for that. In case you're wondering. So let's get out of here. Okay, so we were probably in there for about 5 minutes, considering how long it took us to find the room and get out. So in 5 minutes, we got 3 Tellurium, 2 Steel Essence from the Acolyte, obviously. We also got 4 Gallium, 580 Plastids, and 1,814 Polymer bundles. Now, it's worth knowing that will probably be around the 2,000 mark usually. It was a bit sloppy in that particular farm, but usually around 2,000. So that's with zero buffs of any kind. No cap buffs we got there. That was without resource drop chance booster, resource boosters, nothing. So, you know, if you had all of that together, if you had the resource drop chance booster, if you had the resource doubler, you know, you can be looking at maybe even 8 to 10k polymer bundles in that just 5 minute farm. So, you know, it works out pretty damn well for that. And we also got 20 Detonite Ampule. So yeah, pretty damn good. Let's take a look at another farming node now. So I think now what we'll do is we'll head over to the Void and we'll go on to Annie. Annie's a nice and easy one to find the particular room you need, since it's actually one of the spawn rooms. So there is a farm for each spawn room, but the one that I prefer most is the one with the pipes, and you'll see what I mean in a second. This is not the pipe room. However, if you did want to farm on this particular tile set, you would just come down here, do the same thing we did before, and put down your cages under here. You can sit back and then just spam one there. That's how you would do that room, but we're not going to focus on that, as this isn't my favorite room for farming, I guess. My favorite room for farming is actually the other tile set, so I'm going to keep loading into this mission until we get that. Okay, here we are. So we've got the 2 pipes on either side. So what we want to do on this map is we're going to be sitting down here, just in this pipe right here. Now, it's very difficult for enemies to get behind you here. There are no actual spawnable spaces in this area. The only way an enemy is going to get to you is if he jumps off of this platform down and behind you, which generally tends to be quite unlikely, especially if you sit just in front of this this disc. We're then going to put our cages down here, just by this wall. You can actually prop yourself up against this wall and place your cages there. You then get enemies coming from here and from down the stairs as well. And you don't have to worry too much about dying. You may take a bit more damage. It's not as safe as the other tile set that we just saw. But I find that this one gives you far more resources. So let's go ahead and get going. And I'll probably catch you guys when the Acolyte spawns. Okay, guys. So just so you're aware, we are coming up to the 5 minute mark now. So similar to where we were in the last one. But we've just got a Kavat buff. So a resource booster, if you will, in the top right hand corner. You can see that 150-second countdown. So that's actually going to overlap with our Acolyte spawn as well, which is nice. But yeah, we've been going well here. We've actually got some good rooms around our spawn location right here. Let's back it up a bit. We're getting hit a bit there. Whoops. We've not got to be able to hit the targets though. So the Acolyte once again should just spawn straight in front of us. Like so. We'll get him wrapped up. I'm actually going to go ahead and roll for some invulnerability here. Okay, guys. So 1 Kavat buff there. We didn't use the whole of it. Maybe about 50 seconds. So let's see what we got. So we got 4 Steel Essence. We got 2 Argon Crystals. What else? 58 Control Modules. 9,104 Ferrite. I think without the Kavat booster, you'd probably be at a minimum of about 5,000 Ferrite. 1,000 Ferrite per minute is probably what you can expect from this farm if you don't have any boosters on whatsoever. So yeah, 9,104. Absolutely fantastic. That's great. We can use that to make, loads of ciphers, whatever we want. That's just fantastic. 250 endo. You get a decent amount of endo from this as well. And that's about it, really. Rubedo, probably not the place to farm this, to be honest, but you will get it passively while farming the more important resources, or at least in my opinion, they're more important. So yeah, that's the second farming location that I like to use. Now we'll take a look at the third and final resource location, and then we'll bring the episode to a conclusion. Okay guys, so we're on our pipe tile set again, but now in a derelict tile set. So we're going to do exactly the same thing. However, I want to point out that there is a caveat to doing it this way on a Tellurium, and that is because this little hole in the wall here can often be open to another room. Now, this is not a problem if it's a really small room, maybe a storage room, and not many enemies are going to spawn there, but it does become a big problem if it's a large room, especially if you're going to put your cage down here. If you do have that room open, it's not too much of a problem. You can place your cages a bit further back, and we'll probably be doing that anyway. It's infested. We don't have to worry about bullets flying at us, so we'll probably put our cage down just about here. And that means that any infested that do come out of here, we can obviously just pick up. So let's go ahead and start this. Once again, guys, we'll take it to the first Acolyte, and we'll see what we get. Alright, guys, so our Acolyte here is spawning slightly early, which isn't a problem. We'll go to 5 minutes still, I think, and then get out. And then what I want to do is actually just try a different, or show off a different tile set in this particular map. Mainly because this starter one actually is very reliant on the rooms around it. You can see that the room we're actually currently in isn't a spawning room. If you look on the map, the infested are coming from rooms outside of this one, which means that they have to, or the speed at which they get to us is determined by whatever is in those rooms. And I'll actually demonstrate that in a second and show you guys what's happening. You can see on the map, the infested are bunching up before they get here, which is drastically slowing down how many kills we can get. We're still getting a decent amount of resources, but we can get faster. So there we go. We've hit the 5 minute mark. Let's quickly take a look in this room and see what's going on. So you can see they have to path over this like log, round corners. It's just a bit of a mess. So if we can find a tile set that is able to spawn enemies in the same room, and they have less travel time to get to us and less obstacles and hurdles, then we will end up getting far greater drops. So let's go ahead, we'll get to extraction, see what we've got, and then we'll try a different one of those tile sets. So right here, we got ourselves another 2 steel essence. 5,566 nano spores, 0 cat buffs on this one as well, 11 mutagen samples and a Neurodes. So yeah, probably looking again, minimum of 1,000 per minute, probably slightly more, to be honest. For nano spores, you should usually get more than that. Like I said though, the spawn room we got there wasn't overly great. You can just keep repeating until you get a great one, but if you're not into that and you want to go hunting for a better room, we'll go ahead and take a look at one of those now. Okay guys, so this is one of the rooms you can be in. Now there are actually 2 doors here that you can set up in. This is the first one. Just make sure that these are actually closed. There's no way infestor can get in behind you. And this is the second one over here. I actually prefer the one over to the right. I don't know why. I just seem to get better rates here. And you want to put your cages round about here. Now this is going to sound weird, but what you can do is just jump once and do this. And the infested will just, run in willy-nilly. So yeah, we'll do this again, guys. We'll see the difference in resource drops once we get to the 5 minute mark. Alright, guys. So we're coming up to the 5 minute mark here. I already know that I've got way more nano spores than in the last tile set we farmed. I'm just going to go an extra 20 seconds, though, on this because we obviously had to look for the room. So I want to keep it fair between the 2 tile sets. So you guys can get a good representation of how much more you can get if you choose the right spot to farm in. 8,444. So that's a over 50% increase. In fact, that's a 60% increase, really. More than 60% increase on the last one we got in terms of nanospores. We might have actually got slightly less mutagen samples. I can't remember. And we didn't get any Neurodes this time, but nanospores wise, which is the most common resource drop, and you can kind of base what kind of rates you're getting on other drops on nanospores, or the most common reward on that. So yeah, you can see way more than that other tile set. So definitely, you know, if you want it easy, you can stay in that first spawn tile set. It's just fine, you know, you'll get enough. But if you do want to go looking for a better room, then those are the ones you can look for. The other one you can look for as well is the circular room. You can find a dead end on one of the circular rooms and just sit there, put your cage up in front of you and just spam one. That's another way to do it, but that's one of my personal favorites, actually, that larger room we had there. And you can see, obviously, we got a lot more out of it. 0 Kavat buffs on that as well, so yeah. Happy with that. Now, I do want to say, obviously, just before I end this this video on farming, that all of these tile sets that you're going to be seeing here, your rates may vary, they may differ. It's all going to depend on the surrounding rooms and conditions. The ones for Annie, so the Annie tile set with the pipes that I showed you, as well as the Ophelia room, both of those you should get basically identical to me in terms of how many drops you get. Obviously, on the Annie one, we did get a Kavat buff, so it might affect things slightly, but, you know, for the most part, you should get very similar drop rates to what you're seeing in this video, if not better. I'm not the best farmer in the world. So yeah, hopefully you guys found this informative and interesting. If you guys have any tips for farming with Khora, or you know any other spots that are really good for picking up resources, then do let me know down in the comments. I'd be very interested to read that and do some testing. But otherwise, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Please leave a like and subscribe if you did, and I will catch you in the next one. See you later, guys.